Okay, it says factor the polynomial and then solve the equation f of x is equal to 0. This one, I can actually factor it by grouping. So the first two terms you can factor out an x squared, and that will leave you with an x plus 4. From the back two, I'm going to pull out a -9 so that when I factor it out, I get another x plus 4. Now you can see that these two terms and these two terms have a common factor, which is the x plus 4. And then the other factor is made up of the x squared and the -9. You're going to grab this x squared here, and it goes right there, and this -9, and it goes right there. But x squared minus 9 is the difference of two squares. So that can factor into conjugates of x plus 3 and x minus 3. Now, once it's completely factored, it said solve the equation for f of x equals 0. So if you just set this equal to 0, either the x plus 4 is your 0, which means x would be a -4. There's one answer. Or your x plus 3 is your 0, which means if I subtract 3 from both sides, I get that. Or the x minus 3 is your 0, and you'd have to add 3 to both sides, and you'd get 3. So there you go. Those are my answers. This says find the requested polynomial, express answer in expanded form and in descending order. It's a polynomial function of degree 3, and then it gave me 3 different zeros. It said that one of the zeros was a -2. That means that x equaled -2. Well, if I add 2 to both sides, what I get is x plus 2 is 0. That's one of my factors, x plus 2. Then I can do the same thing with the 3. They're saying that x is equal to a 3. Well, if you subtract 3 on both sides, you get x minus 3 is equal to 0. So there's your next factor, x minus 3. And then the 5, they're saying that x is equal to a 5. Well, if I subtract 5 on both sides, I get an x minus 5 is equal to 0. And there's my third factor. And now all I have to do is create the polynomial by multiplying all this stuff together. So however you want to do it, I'm just going to go from left to right. I'm going to take an x plus 2 times an x minus 3. Sorry they're so spread apart, but I am multiplying. I'm going to FOIL that. So first times first is x squared. That's a minus 3x and a plus 2x. That's a minus x in the middle. And then last times last is a -6. I am now going to take that answer times the x minus 5. Now, in order to multiply that, I am going to have to use a distributive property. So I'm going to distribute the x to all 3 of these terms, and that's going to be x cubed minus x squared minus 6x. And then I'm going to go back and distribute the -5 to all 3 of these. -5 times x squared is a -5x squared. -5 times -x is a positive 5x. And -5 times -6 is a positive 30. And then I'm just going to combine like terms. So my answer would be x cubed minus 6x squared minus x plus 30. And that is my polynomial answer in expanded form in descending order. And there you go. And 16 says, suppose that a polynomial function of degree 4 with rational coefficients has 2i and a -3 minus the square root of 3 as zeros. Find the other zeros. Okay, since it's degree 4, I can have no more than 4 zeros. And I've already got one right here and a second one, whoops, a second one here. And then you have to remember there was a rule that said if an imaginary number was in there, then its conjugate would be, so it's also going to be a negative 2i, and then the same thing with the irrational numbers. So if negative 3 minus the square root of 3 is one of your zeros, then its conjugate, negative 3 plus the square root of 3, is the other one. Those are my other zeros. And then it says, find a polynomial function of lowest degree with rational coefficients. It has the given numbers. So in this one, they want the entire polynomial. It says, find a polynomial. So 2i is one of my zeros, so that means negative 2i. And square root of 5 is, so also negative square root of 5. So let's see. The 2i, if x equals 2i, then x minus 2i is one of my factors. If negative 2i, if x equals negative 2i, then x plus 2i is one of my factors. If x equals the square root of 5, then x minus the square root of 5 is one of my factors. And if x equals a negative square root of 5, then x plus the square root of 5 is one of my factors. And I put them in that order together because I'm going to FOIL them. And when let's go with dark green here. When I FOIL this, these are conjugates. So all I have to do is first times first and last times last. Of course, an I squared is really a negative 1, so this becomes x squared plus 4. And then back here, when I do these two, same thing, they're conjugates. So first times first is an x squared. Outsides and insides cancel. It's a negative times a positive, that's a negative. And the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is just a 5. So now what I have to do is multiply these two things together, FOIL that out. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. My outside is a negative 5x squared. My inside is a positive 4x squared. And last times last is a negative 20. So follow me up here. My final answer is x to the 4th minus x squared minus 20. That was fun.